Once again, I'm joined by Masuma Jafar on our one-to-one discussion. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
With the rise of an aging population, I wanted to ask you, what is the Islamic perspective on organ donation? It's obviously there is an illegal trade going on, which is very disturbing because it tends to put the vulnerable and the poor in compromising positions. But what is the Islamic take on organ donation and when it should be, if we can have it done?
The ruling, according to some of the merger, is that while you're alive, you can donate any of your organs which will not be detrimental to your own life. So, for example, donating a kidney would be okay. Donating part of your liver would be okay. So that is your right, and that can be given to anyone.
Okay, that's really interesting because I've previously heard that there's a lot of resentment towards that. Not resentment, but it's always been a no, you can't do that until obviously something happens in your own family. Is there a ruling on, for example, did you say when we're alive? What about when we pass away? People say we don't need our body parts, our spirit is fine. Can we donate?
Again, you've got to look at the complexity of how the rulings come about. Okay, so organ donation was not something that was there at the time of the Prophet or the Aimah. So when the merger tries to come up with a ruling, they will go back and take it back to basics.
Right.
Now there are two sort of situations here that they're looking at. One is saving a life, which is obviously something that is encouraged within Islam.
Right.
When it comes to a Muslim life, it actually becomes wajib for a Muslim to try to save a Muslim's life. And the other situation that they're looking at is where the cutting of a dead body is not allowed. So mutilation of a body, which in the Arab custom used to be quite prevalent.
Right.
We have stories from history where certain people cut up other people's bodies in the battlefield and so forth. Okay, so again, that is not allowed. It's haram. Okay, so you have one which is obviously wanting to save a person's life, and the other one where it says no cutting up a body is mutilation and it's not allowed. So they have to sort of weigh it up and look at what, the hadiths are there and everything. And the ruling that some of the Marja have come up with is that if it is saving a Muslim's life, because it is wajib on a Muslim to save a Muslim's life, then if you want to donate an organ which is going to a Muslim, you can do that.
Right.
But you're not allowed to if it's not going to a Muslim. And that is only because of these two laws there. And this shows how
so any Muslim, it doesn't matter what sect you're in, or do we get even more specific?
It's a Muslim.
Okay.
Yeah, because as long as the Ummah is made up of a Muslim.
Right.
So if you said La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, you're a Muslim. And this actually shows that the fatwas are not taken out from the air or from the mind of the marja. He is actually looking at what Quran and Hadith says and trying to build on that and sort of see what was there and take the issues that we have back to basics and pull out what was there from Quran and Hadith.
My other question is, what does Islam say about selling your organs? Is it okay to give? Is it okay to sell your organs?
It is not haram. It is as long as it's not detrimental to your life, then that is your choice. But that is the fiqh, that is the ruling. Now, there is always an akhlaq, which is the moral aspect of the ruling. And morally, I would have a problem with that. I just feel it's so
even
sad.
Though some people, sorry to cut you, some people, and I'm not saying this is right, are given money or are given some kind of...
I just feel that you must be so desperate to have to sell a part of your body in order for money. I just think that screams desperation. And as a Muslim, if I see someone who is that desperate, my akhlaq would dictate that I help them. I mean, we were having this discussion at home a while back, And me and my husband were talking about it, and my husband says, well, it's just, paying their medical costs, making sure that their recovery is okay, and then just actually giving them some money as a thank you.
Yeah.
My view is, and again, this is my personal view, from an Akhlaqi perspective, if I needed an organ and I came across someone who was willing to sell that organ to me that would be them screaming desperation. And I would actually pay them for the organ but not take it, because I feel that they need that money more than I do. And I was just like,
I need to interject, only because I've personally been through this situation where, I lost someone very close to me because they needed a transplant and didn't get one. And they did have the option of going abroad to have one, and a match was found, etc. And, I think it's so difficult when you're faced with life and death situations, because this person was happy to take care of the person for the rest of their lives. They financially couldn't, because it was abroad, of course, things are a lot cheaper there.
Of course.
But and they wrestled with that, because but it's a business at the end of the day in some countries, and I think it's really easy to be very moral about
if you're not in the situation, of
but
course.
the situation with this person was they were willing to take care of the person for the rest of their life, because kidneys can fail after 5 years, etc. But I was just asking that question because there is such a rise, especially in Muslim communities and Muslim countries, because we're not offering to donate organs.
Yeah, it's just encouraged, I suppose. But I personally, I don't think Akhlaq-wise, I don't think I could be okay with it. That's my own personal choice. And like you're saying, I'm not in the situation. I'm looking at it from outside. Maybe I might have a different opinion if I'm actually in that situation. I don't know. I would hope not, but I don't know. But fiqh-wise, there's nothing wrong with it at all. The ruling says it's allowed.
Now, when we were talking about organ donation, why are we as communities not doing big drives? There's such a big drive in the media at the moment, going to all different type of faith groups requesting
I think we're trying to. Again, I think one of the things that's become really huge at the moment is around Ashura. There's huge drives for blood transfusion, and people are actually giving in the name of Imam Hussein. Communities are organising for their community members, for maybe the transplant team to go to the community, so that the community members don't have to actually go to the hospital, or actually take bus loads of community members to the hospital again. And that's a way of us sort of actually getting Imam Hussein's message out there as well. Actually saying, look, he died because of oppression. He died for a cause, and we're trying to help others through his name, just trying to live his values. And I think that's beautiful.
I've just come up with another question. Just putting myself in that situation, the person who needed, who passed away, who needed an organ, of course, when it's somebody, you're like, oh, of course, I would help you. Is there an Islamic ruling on, supposing if you're married, do you need to get your partner's permission? Or even if you're not married and you're living at home with your parents, or is it your body and your rights? Who makes that decision?
I think if you're a child, obviously your parents would have to.
I mean, like you live at home, you're in your 20s, partner.
I honestly don't know, but I think as an adult living at home, it would be all right. In the marriage situation, I don't know. I'd have to check.
That would be so good to find out as well. Because that just came into my head as well, because you said you have to make sure you're that you're physically okay. And I'm thinking, if you have children and you have one kidney.
I think it would, even if you are allowed to make that decision, would it not be a decision that you make collectively? Because everyone will be affected anyway.
Depends who I was giving the kidney to. But I do understand your point. Well, there are certain countries that are for harvesting kidneys a lot, Islamic countries, for example. You said Islamically there isn't anything wrong with it, but it is a business, and those countries are being identified because they are using this as a business. Is there something morally wrong with that, do you think?
I find...
Especially if the surgeons know most of the time that these people are desperate.
I think how they're looking at it is they're saying, look, when people have money and there are other people who are in need of money, it's going to happen. So why do we not make it something that is legal, and then we can actually monitor it, and we can ensure that, you know, the right amount of money is being given, the right amount, you know, the right type of care is being given. It's being done from an official perspective. So I can see where they're coming from, and I think it actually works better if it is legal and monitored, and everything's done fairly. Again, like I said, maybe I'm living in my little bubble in the West, and you know, alhamdulillah, I haven't been in a situation like that or had anyone close to me in a situation like that, and maybe that's why I can take the moral stand. I don't know.
But do you think it would be more fair if money wasn't a transaction in all of this, in terms of?
But then what's to encourage? I mean, if you, unless you're a really nice person.
No, I mean like your health care, and then I don't know, maybe a scholarship fund if you had children, or something to help you get on the, I don't know, property ladder by a car, but not.
It's still the
cash.
Same, isn't it? What I mean,
I don't know.
What they use the money for is their choice. I mean, why are we dictating that it has to go into scholarship or into property or something? Maybe they want to start a business. Maybe they want to go on holiday. Surely it should be their choice.
I don't know, you've given me, as always, a lot to think about there, especially with the organ donation. I didn't know we were allowed to do that. I hope our viewers have learnt a lot from this episode. In our lifetime. I hope our viewers have got a lot from this episode. I look forward to seeing you on our next episode.